Hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Today we just got a quick little project. I've got my TRX-4 Sport here, and I wanted to put a new uh, aluminum motor mount on this thing. We talked about when I did the upgrade, or correction, when I did the build, that there's a groove right here inside of the dust cover that actually captures the motor mount, the top. There's a little groove right there. I'll show you here in a minute. But it allowed the motor to just kind of wiggle back and forth inside there. I'm not sure if you can see that right here on camera, but I showed it once before. But the motor actually wiggles, and it's because of that motor plate wiggling inside of this plastic. And I can only imagine over time it's going to get worse when the actual cover starts to wear. So maybe it's a good idea to get one of these in aluminum as well. But I wanted to just try a new motor mount to see if that kind of took up some of the slack. But today we have the Atomik 4209 in gunmetal. It's the alloy motor mount for the Traxxas TRX-4 Sport, or correction, the TRX-4. And this is, you can find these in atomikrc.com. But I wanted to just do a little quick one here today and see if it went in without any problems, if it took care of some of the current problems that we have, and just the overall general fit and finish of this thing. So without running my mouth too much, let's get into this one real quick. It should just be the 3 screws that hold the cover on. And that should bring it right on out of there. Yep, there we go. Sweet. I don't have my speed controller hooked up yet, so my motor just comes right out. Let's get this thing out of the bag, shall we? All right, there we go. That is the motor mount. Notice it's got the letters on it just like the original does. And the cool thing, you can actually see your letters on that a whole lot better than you can see the letters on that. So there you go. Now I'm not sure if you watched my first video, but when I put this in, the book says 1, 2, 3, and I put it in the 4th one. And you probably can't see that. A, B, C, D. That's where I have mine mounted. This is the stock pinion gear on the stock spur gear. And for me, it was just a little too tight, and I was not happy with that. So I went ahead and tried the D just to see where that would land. And it actually had a better fit. There was a little bit of play in there versus the C that didn't have any play at all. So that's where I went. So when I swapped this over and I mount the motor into the D setting, some of you may question that I got it in the wrong place. But for me, in this car, the D is where it needs to be set at. And what's funny is I found that to be true on the other chassis kit that I built as well. Now, I don't know if that is a typo in the book, which would mean it's also a typo in the drawing, or not. And the fact that it was in multiple books tells me that that's pretty much what they wanted it to be. I don't know if there was an interim design change. Who knows? Maybe I'll get on the phone with them and ask them a couple of questions. All right, so what I got here, I got my 2 mounting holes. I got my mount plate. Slide it over that, and I'll try to line them up one at a time. A, B, C, and D. Come on, get in there. A, B, C, D. Get it nice and snug. Looks pretty much the same. There's no space between there, which means there's no gunk in there. Boy, that's pretty shiny. I like that. Makes it where you can't see anything when I turn it. Oh, yeah. All right, let's give it in, sit it in there and see what it does. After, of course, we put the gear back on it. Now remember, there's a flat spot right here on the motor shaft, and that is where the grub screw is going to sit. So just like that, or like that. Whichever way fits on there for you, and depending on the design of your pinion gear, that might change whether you put it on this way, whether you put it on this way, depending on the design. So what I do is I drop it on the ground and I go digging for it. And when I finally come back to the camera, I tap it to make sure that I can see what I'm doing. I set it on, I just snug it just a little bit. And then when I set it in place, let's see if I can get this adjusted a little bit where I can show you guys a little better. It just sets right down in here, right in those little grooves. Right there, right in there. All right, and then what I do is I hold it in place and I check my gear mesh. Still looks good. Still feels good. This seems like it's got just a little more play than the stock motor mount. Hopefully that won't change too much when I bolt it all together. But let's find out. All right, and I've got the gear lined up side to side, close to where I want it. I might change it just a hair. That looks good. Then we're going to set the gear cover back in place. We'll tighten it down until the screws loosen, and then back it off a quarter of a turn. Don't never do that. That's a joke. It's probably a tasteless joke. But any mechanic that you ever ask about the proper torque spec of any screw, bolt, nut, whatever, if they crack that joke, it is a joke. If you tighten a screw until it starts to back off, you've stripped it. And you go, oops, and you back it off a quarter of a turn, and you walk away. Actually, you run away. Bravely, of course. All right. Now, if I'm looking at this correctly, there is just a tiny little bit of play in there, but it feels a lot tighter. The motor, I guess, this motor mount feels tighter than this one. And what I'm referencing is this little ridge right here. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's got a little ridge sticking up. That fits in a groove on the bottom of the dust cover. And I think the one on this Atomik is just a little thicker through here. I guess I could have measured it when I had it out. But it feels like it's a little tighter. Regardless, I'm happier with that on there, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that's it. Real quick and easy. The Atomik 4209, mine's in gunmetal. They come in a couple different colors for the Traxxas TRX-4. I hope you guys enjoyed it. appreciate it. And come back. There'll be another installment or two. We got some more parts in the box, and we'll be getting to those soon. Thanks for watching.